Welcome back to the show. Now, we have a lot to get into today, but before we get started, guys, I want to remind you I was a Democrat for over 25 years, and in 2024, I voted for President Donald Trump. By 2020, I started noticing that the Democratic Party was headed in a much different direction and really lost the values that I stand for and teach myself and my family. So now what I do is I watch political clips and I break them down to show you exactly why I used to think the way I think and why I knew that I needed a change. So what's happening right now in Portland is that the police is having a staffing shortage, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to see exactly what's going on in Portland, and then we're going to go over why Portlanders need to start thinking for themselves to see exactly what's going on and that it actually needs to change. The fatal empathy that we are taught is actually hurting more people than helping them. So anyways, let's get started with Portland and the police needing more help. So here we go.
First at 5, it was a crime-filled weekend in Portland, and police say they did not have enough officers on the street to respond to an attempted kidnapping call sooner than half an hour. And this comes just 1 week after Chief Bob Day addressed understaffing in a press conference. Fox 12's Julia Lopez joins us live from downtown with more details. Julia, what are police saying today?
Well, this is another event we've reported on where bystander intervention has prevented what could have been a much more serious crime. And today police are saying that it shouldn't come down to heroic actions by citizens.
We don't have the appropriate amount of police officers to handle the amount of demand for police services.
This statement from Portland Police has been made evident the past several days. On Saturday, it took officers an estimated 30 to 40 minutes to respond to a dozen 911 calls reporting a naked man harassing people in Waterfront Park. This escalated to an alleged attempt to grab a 7-year-old girl out of her parents' arms. The Bureau says its officers were tied up with a barricaded suspect a mile away.
Their resources.
All right, guys, so there we go. So welcome to Portland, Oregon. And before, guys, I actually forgot to tell you that I grew up around Portland, Oregon, so this story really hits close to home. I can't believe what has happened to one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been in, but in 2026, this is where we're at. If you guys remember, in 2020, Portland decided to do the defund the police, the whole movement with George Floyd, where Portland really took it on and decided that they want to defund the police. And here we are in 2026, guys. You have crime being committed, and it takes the police 30 to 40 minutes because they don't have enough staff. And so the question I have for you, if you live in Portland, the question I have for you, with all the tax money that you pay in the city of Portland, do you believe that there should be more law enforcement? And really ever ask yourself, why isn't there more law enforcement? You know what I'm saying? I think that's a question that everyone needs to ask down in Portland, because I know the city can change. It's just going to take a lot of us to wake up and see exactly what's going on.
Intensive. And so when you have a draw like that, it really puts a drain on the entire city, not just that precinct.
But this wasn't an isolated incident. Earlier this month, a group of women held back an alleged attacker for 40 minutes until help arrived. And on Monday morning, a Fox 12 crew was threatened with a knife at the waterfront. It took police 10 minutes to intervene.
Unless it's an on-call group of officers like the SWAT team or the traffic team, there's no additional officers that I can just bring in at a moment's notice.
Deputy Chief Brian Hughes says PPP was operating at a 24% staffing reduction, with 41 officers stationed across the city and 10 pulling overtime. He says tactical calls like the domestic violence threat in Old Town require additional staff in case the suspect gets away or fires a weapon. With 70 vacancies, more than $20 million in recent budget cuts, and an increase in complex calls since 2020, Hughes says patrol staff is stretched too thin to respond right away.
It's just triaging calls.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the problems I see over in Portland, Oregon, right? They are taking away money from law enforcement, literally just telling them like, oh, we got to cut $20 million. But yet at the same time, you go to Portland, Oregon, and you see just how bad it looks downtown, right? They're using all this money for the homeless, for drug addicts. It's like they're not actually fixing any problems. They are just maintaining the problem. And that's, to me, is one of the biggest reasons why I decided to say enough is enough. We have to vote different if we want to see different results.
As they come in on the street, as opposed to having enough officers to handle each call as they came in.
On Saturday, officers arrested the naked suspect Daniel Vassie after he waded into the river, only after police say he was pepper sprayed by a bystander. Vassie had already been arrested that very day in Gresham for reportedly trespassing at Legacy Mount Hood Hospital. According to court documents, he assaulted a hospital security guard, was pepper sprayed, booked and released, and was arrested again at the park 2 hours later.
All right, did you guys just hear that? Did you guys just hear that? This guy was booked and released on an assault charge earlier in the day, 2 hours earlier before he committed this crime. Now, I gotta tell you, this is not the police officer's fault. Every single police officer that works for the Portland police, I guarantee you, they want to see these people locked behind bars. What this has to do with is the local government, is your city officials. They're the ones that are creating these loopholes because they believe it's more empathetic and, oh, you know, this person just misunderstood and that's why we should let them back out because, you know, they're struggling, they're homeless, they don't have any money, they're mental. So let's just keep letting them back out. Let's let them back out. And that's what happens, guys. That's what happens. This is not the police officer's fault. This man should have never been let out of jail, but because of the state government, all the way down to the city government, down to the judges being told, you will have these people booked and released, this is the end result. This is why you see so many people coming in and out of Portland committing these crimes and never really getting in trouble for it. The only way to change that is by really thinking for yourself and saying, is what I'm voting for really what I want to see? Or am I being sold something that's actually not reality? That's the question I have for you.
He asked what can be done to ensure community safety with the Bureau's current staffing levels and budget. Police say it comes down to, quote, city values.
Those are some very heroic things that have been done across our city. I can tell you that I would prefer that we have a police department that is able to respond in a timely fashion and handle those things appropriately.
Vassie is being held without bail. Live from downtown, Julia Lopez, Fox 12 Oregon.
Well, yeah, so that guy, he had to, there he is right there. He literally had to commit 2 crimes before finally being held without bail. He literally had to attempt to kidnap a 7-year-old before the city officials in Portland were finally like, let's keep him behind bars. Like I said, guys, this has nothing to do with the police in Portland. It has to do with the lack of police officials and the local government and their rules and regulations that they have for the city. Now, Portland, Oregon has these laws that they think is helping the homeless, but when you actually go out there and talk to some of the homeless, you realize that they're just being enabled. This isn't the empathy you are being sold. Let's just look at this story right here. A young homeless addict living in Portland questions why harm reduction workers give her and her friends the tools to keep using drugs, which inevitably leads to them dying. She doesn't appreciate being enabled and feels like they've been taken advantage of. This is the moment to have empathy. This is the moment to see that what we're doing is wrong and we need to stop doing this. Unfortunately, one side will not stop and they think that this is what empathy looks like and this is the opposite of it.
Do harm reduction people come out here and give you supplies like...
Harm reduction, like the clean syringes and stuff like that? Yeah. There's a couple of them, but then there's a few of them that came out in a van and they start passing out stuff like pipes and snorting kits and shit like that. Like, why? Just making it so much easier and more comfortable for people to just be like, oh, okay. Now I don't even have to go anywhere. I don't like it.
Well, that definitely would be enabling.
Yeah.
You know, you are
Big time enabling.
you're approaching a person who's in the middle of their addiction and giving them the tools to continue to get high.
Yeah, instead of clean syringes, I understand, but stuff like pipes and like
Straws,
special made
foil.
Yeah, special made freaking stuff to do where you heat it up and shit like that. Just stuff like that is definitely enabling, and it doesn't help.
What they argue is this is reducing harm. I personally don't see how.
Yeah, I don't either. It's enabling actually makes it more harmful, because once people get comfortable enough doing stuff a certain way, like, why do anything else? It's fucked up.
Yeah, so if you listen to this young woman, we're gonna hear her one more time. She actually has something else that I thought was very important to hear. But if you listen to her right now, guys, these are the people you see when you drive and you stop at the at the light. There's a stop sign. And you see them holding their signs, right? They're living in a system where we're keeping them addicted, and we're calling it harm reduction. We're not helping these people. We're literally allowing them to always stay homeless and depend on the government for their supplies. If you think about it, this is just another version of the food stamp program. Now, I'm not going to get into the food stamp program, but these people are addicted and being supplied by their own government. And guess who votes these people in? Okay, so now, the Benson Bubblers built in 1912. They're a famous tourist attraction in Portland, Oregon. If you've ever been to Portland, chances are you may have seen this fountain. I actually have seen it. Like I said, I used to live around the Portland area, and I absolutely love Portland. I hope that it's able to make a comeback and go back to the Portland that we all knew. Every year, thousands of tourists drink out of these. Many, though, are used daily by the homeless to bathe, and most tourists have no idea what they're putting their mouths on. So check this out, guys. If you've ever been to Portland and you have actually drank out of this faucet, these are some of the same people that are using the faucet for something completely different.
Are there any shots?
Yeah, look at that, guys. Yeah, so these things happen in Portland, Oregon, but the thing is most people don't ever experience this, right? It's you have to be in Portland at the right place at the right time, right? If you're not there, you see it on video. But this is happening all the time to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people every single day. Most of us just drive by it, don't look at it, say, ooh. But at the end of the day, should we be living in a city where you pay the most taxes of a lot of major cities, and the end result is less policing, more crime, more drugs, more homeless? So what I want to do is I want to go back to that young lady that we had at the beginning here. She actually says something here that I feel is very, very important, and we really need to listen to what these people are going through. The homeless is out of control, young Portland woman says, caused by own devices, mental health, and drugs.
So nice to meet you. Kind of share your perspective on homelessness out here.
It is absolutely out of control. It's taken over like all the pretty parts of Portland, and I mean, my camp included. It's a fucking eyesore. Like, it's not okay at all, and I have no clue what Portland's gonna do about it. Yeah.
And how many people are homeless out here by choice?
Pretty much all of them. Like a good 85-90% are put like in the situation they're in by their own devices, not like any external force or whatever.
Yeah, I want to pause her right there because I'll let you know right now. I actually did Uber in Portland from around 2016 to I think 2020. I think right before the pandemic, or maybe at the pandemic, I was like, I'm good. I did it for 4 years, and what I'll tell you right now is back then, a lot of people, I literally would hear these people say that this is a choice that they're making because they don't like the rules at home. They think it's cool to be out here. They get fed. They get to just hang out with their friends. And a lot of them end up becoming addicted to drugs and then never leave the streets. And so she is 100% correct when she says that 80 to 90% of these people are there by their own free will. They're choosing to be homeless.
And what about you?
Me, divorce and drugs, yeah, and not dealing with like mental issues because of the divorce, I guess, and using drugs as a crutch. And I refuse to mix drugs and family, so that's why I'm doing them out here and not at home.
Do you at least stay in touch with family?
Absolutely, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I got 2 kids. I got an 8-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son.
Wow, so it would be extremely easy to judge this woman. But if you think about it, she is in this position because of some hardships. She went through divorce, she got addicted to drugs, and now the city of Portland is enabling her to stay on drugs instead of getting the help that she needs to change her life around. You know, me personally, I went through a divorce in 2016, and there was a time period, about a 3-week time period, where I was living out of my car. Now, thank God I was able to not get so low that I ended up turning to drugs, ended up being homeless, and became a drug addict. Thank God that didn't happen. But I can only imagine if that did happen, the city of Portland would have continued to enable me to be addicted to drugs. And really the question has to be, why? What is the point in keeping these people addicted? You're not helping them. It's not actual compassion. This is why, guys, it's so important that we pay attention to our local officials and vote on what your values are, not what they are trying to sell to you. So before we go, I want to show you a stat about Portland, and it may or may not shock you. Portland, Oregon compared to other cities on crime. So this is the 2024 FBI-based reporting city data. So this is per 100,000 people. Portland has 720 violent crimes per 100,000 compared to the national average of 674. Portland is at about 7% higher than the national average. Now, that one is a little shocking. This next one is going to absolutely blow your mind. The property crime per 100,000 in Portland is 5,526 to the national average of 2,978. That is about a 86% higher increase on property crime in Portland, Oregon than anywhere else in the nation. So can you believe that? As crime is getting worse in Portland, as crime is increasing, the city council, the local government is defunding the police and allowing these criminals back out on the street. These are the people that you are voting for. What they do is they tell you one thing and then they do the exact opposite. So now what I want to know from you down in the comments is, do you think Portland should switch to maybe trying something different? Or are you satisfied with how Portland is going? Now, especially for the people who live out of Portland, I really want to know what you think. As for me, I hope Portland one day goes back to what it used to be, because it used to be a very beautiful city. And really, at the end of the day, guys, America is worth fighting for. Portland, Oregon is worth fighting for. And saving our values is worth fighting for. If you are ready to make a change, just like I did, please consider doing research on your politicians and voting the ones out that actually do not align with your personal values. All right, guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much if you have stayed the entire time. Don't forget, subscribe, like, leave a comment. And as always, guys, we can defend America and save our values together. You take care. See you on the next video.